Hey folks, I'm Aman from DAOstar, where we build standards and public infrastructure for DAOs. This video and a series of videos following this was created by DAOstar to explain why we need standards like EIP 4824 and how your DAO can go about adopting them. This is the first video of the series, and in this video, we'll be speaking about the rationale behind the standard. But before I jump into the details, know that you can read the standard anytime by going to eips.ethereum.org or dawstar.one/EIP. You can create a DAO URI by going to the dawstar.org/register page. I'll be doing a demo of this in the next video. To find our contract addresses and subgraph and related code, you can visit our GitHub. And I've also provided Telegram addresses of myself, Johnny Pirovich, and Joshua Tan, to whom you can reach out at any time regarding any questions. There is also one additional material which is not present on the screen. It is a written guide on how to adopt EIP 4824, and I'll be linking it to the in the description of this Loom video. With that out of the way, let's get going. So EIP 4824 was created because DAO data as it stands today is quite scattered and time consuming to find. And this is a suboptimal state. When I say DAO data or DAO metadata, I mean all of these things. For example, what does this DAO do? How does it work? How does its governance process work? Who are the different stakeholders like governance token holders, delegates, multi-sig signers, etc., involved with the DAO? Which contract addresses, treasuries does the DAO own and control? How active is its community? Which tools, service providers, and issuers does it use? Currently, all of this information lies scattered across multiple sources. These sources could include the DAO's documentation, its GitHub, its forums, all the different tools it uses to run itself, etc. EAP 4824 was created to address this problem, and it does so by defining something called a DAO URI. Now, how does a DAO URI work? How exactly can your DAO create a DAO URI? Are questions we will look into in the next video. But in this video, let me show you a few examples of DAO URIs. If you see here, you'll see three IPFS links. These lead to three different IPFS files. And these are DAO URIs of DeFi protocols such as 1inch, Shapeshift, and Unlock. Let me go to them and show you what data is presented them. This is the DAO URI of 1inch DAO. And you can see that the DAO URI returns a JSON object. And the JSON object has a few fields. There is a context field, there's a type field. Under name, you have 1inch DAO. Then there is a very long description of what 1inch does and how it works. And following that are a few sub URIs like members URI, proposals URI, activity log, which is blank, governance URI, and contract registry. Let us visit one of these sub URIs and see what's inside. For example, if I were to go to this members URI, I can see that it returns to me a list of addresses. These addresses are the 1inch token holders. If you append this next cursor here, you'll get the next set of addresses, and you can keep going until you have all 1inch token holders. Now, if I do the same thing for Shapeshift DAO, I'll see that the JSON object it returns also is in the same format. There's the context, there is type, there is a name, there's a description, and there are all the different sub URIs. And it's a similar case for Unlock DAO as well. Now, this is important because one in Shapeshift and Unlock, if you think about it, are very different organizations. One of them has a fully on-chain governance. The other one operates on a snapshot plus Gnosis multisig configuration, and the other one operates on a snapshot plus reality.eth configuration. And there are many other differences regarding the culture and tools used within the DAOs to run itself. But this, in spite of all this, we have managed to capture information about the three different protocols in a similar format. And this is what EIP 4824 aims to achieve. It aims to standardize the publishing of DAO data so that everyone who is interested in this data has an easy time accessing it. A DAO URI is a unique identifier of a DAO, and it is very similar to the token URI concept in NFTs, if you're familiar with it. This is the official schema defined by the standard. The first two fields, context and type, are fixed, and the other seven fields, the DAO needs to fill in its own details. It can fill in its name, add its description, and in the sub URIs, it can include details about its members, proposals, activity log, governance, and contract registry. Note that some of these sub URIs are dynamic. For example, members URI will always serve you an up to date list of members, and proposals URI will always serve you an up to date list of proposals of the DAO. So you do not need to change the DAO URI every time a new member joins the DAO or a new proposal gets added to the DAO. For comparison purposes, I have the DAO URI on my left, schema on my left, and on the right, I have 1-inch DAO URI. And you can see how practically they have implemented the DAO URI schema. You'll also find that 1-inch has chosen to leave blank some sub URIs. For example, issuers, activity log, and contract registry has been left blank by 1-inch DAO, and they've added an extra field called the manager address. We'll be speaking about manager address in the later video, but note that EAP 4824 only defines a minimum viable uh, structure for a DAO URI. A DAO can always choose to add more information if it wishes to. Without going into too many details, this is how things work. A DAO has to create a DAO URI first, following the EIP 4824 schema. In the next video, we'll be seeing how to do this, and it's quite easy. Once you have a DAO URI representing or capturing information about your DAO, the DAO then needs to publish it. The three DAO URIs that we saw earlier were all published on the Ethereum blockchain. A DAO can also choose to publish it on different blockchains. It may also publish it off chain if there isn't any means to publish it on chain. But once that is done, a published URI provides easy access to the DAO's information to all interested parties. This could include indexes like Etherscan. This could include aggregators like Masari and DeepDAO. This could include protocols like Optimism and Gitcoin that might be building infrastructure on top of the standard. And this could also mean the DAOstar Explorer. And if you go to daostar.org/explore, you'll be able to see a list of all the DAOs that have adopted EAP 4824. This list is actually quite long. There are thousands of DAOs here, and you can sort them based on the chain in which they publish their DAO URI or the governance framework they are using. For example, if I visit OneInch DAO's profile on the DAOstar Explorer, uh, it displays its DAO URI in a bit more convenient, legible format. There are separate links which will lead me to the separate sub URIs. And here you can see the contract address that published this DAO URI on chain. You can also see the network in which it was published in. And you can do this for all the different DAOs that are on our Explore page. So to summarize, adopting EIP 4824 makes it really easy for people to find essential information about your DAO. You do not have to publish this information multiple times. You only need to publish this information at a single source. And suddenly, irrespective of how your DAO is structured, on which blockchain it lives, or how many parameters it controls, everybody has easy access to information about your DAO. EIP 4824 does not make any change to your DAO's governance or smart contracts. All it is a way of publishing already available but scattered information. And publishing an EIP 4824 compliant DAO URI adds to the overall credibility of the DAO, and it increases the interoperability of the DAO ecosystem. In the past 2 years, what we've noticed is that once you have a basic DAO primitive, which the DAO URI is, you can go on to build critical public infrastructure on top of this. The regulatory interface we are working on, funded by the Arbitrum Foundation, the grants metadata standard that is piloted by Gitcoin, the attestation standard that we are working on, uh, and multiple other standards and public infrastructure that DAOstar is building are all examples of this. With that, we are at the end of this video. In the next video, we'll be looking at how to create a DAO URI and how to go about publishing it. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Take care.